because now AI is showing us after this whole large language model explosion happens, it's the whole internet basically right into that model. And it shows us that the world is a more united sector when AI works as a catalyst to bring it together.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Facing Disruption. Today, I'm joined by Dev Roy, CEO of Rotech and Intra Intel AI. I had the opportunity to cross paths with Dev at the Inflection Point Summit put on by another colleague of mine at the end of 2025. And I am really excited to be bringing him on today to explore his views around the rapid maturation of precision healthcare. We're going to talk about clinical trials. We're going to talk about SMBs in the healthcare space. Dev leads a minority-owned, women-led consultancy that's been revolutionizing cloud architecture and AI integration since 2018. I realize that's a bit of a technical description of it, so we'll talk a little bit about the outcomes that he's generating for his clients in the industry. With over a decade driving cloud strategy for both private and public sector clients, he's been spearheading initiatives generating over $150 million in revenue. You all know that healthcare is a passion of mine. We've done a number of episodes around precision healthcare, the future of human-machine interactions, digital biomarkers. And Dev's mission is to democratize AI-driven insights, and it aligns perfectly with the transformation conversations that we've been having. So with that, Dev, I'd like to welcome you to the show, give a little bit more of an introduction about yourself, and then we'll just jump right into it.
Thank you. That's a wonderful introduction. I don't think I deserve it, but thank you.
Yes, you do. Absolutely. As entrepreneurs, we deserve it.
Growing up in a lower middle class family in India, I never dreamt of coming to USA and doing my master's and my higher studies here. So I came 2008 to do my master's in computer science from Indiana University, and I completed my master's 2010. Then I moved into this area in Arlington, Virginia with my first job in E-Trade Financial Bank. And that's how my journey started as a data analyst, application developer, software developer life. Then I worked in multiple large enterprises, companies, including commercial as well as government entities and government contracting. Worked in companies like Ernst & Young to CGI Federal to large government contracting, where I really learned how to move myself up from an application developer to start thinking strategically to build large multi-billion-dollar platforms in hybrid multi-cloud space. 2018, we started our journey as a government contracting business in Rotech. We won contracts with U.S. Air Force, Department of State, and Department of Education. We did work with GSA, GAO, NOAA, and many other government agencies. And we try to expand in that business. While working for NIH, CMS, and HHS, we definitely found some gaps in the industry with clinical trial and how the clinical trial operates in today's world, and how much time, money, burn it causes to the leadership people who actually want to contribute, who actually wants to do something big. With that in mind, when 2 years back, the whole OpenAI and AI came to this world with a new face, we found our right spot with a use case. And from then, we started our journey into intraintel.ai. So we believe that intra means your internal data, and intel out of it is getting missing in the newer explosion of the whole large language models. While creating the data is becoming so easy these days, the internal data, the data an enterprise stored, created, researched on for decades, storing that data, securing that data, finding intelligence from that data has never been more difficult before. So with that in mind, we started our platform building with that approach. And then even quickly, we pivot to the enterprise approach, where we figured out that a lot of CEOs we are working with, they are trying to bring AI into their organization, but they are bringing things in pockets. They are doing some AI work in maybe marketing, some maybe in sales. They are bringing another tool in ERP. But that's not how they're solving the problem of AI optimization. So we changed our approach a little bit to an enterprise lookout, and we started offering an end-to-end AI platform for enterprises, focusing on clinical trial and healthcare. With that, we have some good partners we found in our journey who helped us building the product along with the researchers. Because one of the goals always was there, we do not want to build a product in silo. We wanted to build a product with our customer. So we were lucky enough to find 15, 20 customers at the early stage who supported us building the product and enterprise level end-to-end platform, where you inculcate an entire data from the first stage to all the way to the last stage or end stage, and then getting the feedback. So that's how we evolved over the last 2 years, from a simple platform connecting with your internal data, getting intelligence, to an enterprise level end-to-end platform that is offering now in the clinical trial and healthcare space the journey of a product and how it drastically reduces the timeline for clinical trial, increases efficiency, bringing value that's connect with KPIs, not just bringing value for the sake of bringing value or good to have. So that's what we are doing. That's our introduction. Thank you so much for having me here today. I'm very excited to talk to you.
That's great. And that adds so much color. I see 3 possible conversations here that are just really, really interesting. And we talked a bit about this already. Your personal journey coming from India, coming over here, becoming an engineer. And then, one of the things that I feel like is that as the younger generation is coming up, what we're seeing is more and more of this narrative of don't go corporate. It's going to slow you down. You're going to burn out. It's not worthwhile. But the reality is, in your story, and I've experienced the same, is that, you need to start somewhere and you need to learn these lessons along the way. So hearing how you started at E-Trade, moved into defense, you learned the industry. And now when you came out to do your own thing, you have that knowledge. I think that story is wonderful. The other thing you talked about is democratizing data and insights in AI. And that's where I want to start with. And then the third thing you talked about is being able to evolve your vision and the product alongside your customer, right? Because it's like, you knew you had something, you had the vision, but the details changed along the side. But for today, I wanted to start with clinical trials. And I wanted to get very basic for our listeners first to say, when we talk about democratizing your data, democratizing your insights, what does that mean? Why is that important? And what is the challenge that you're seeing there?
Absolutely. So what we are seeing a lot in the clinical trial world, that somebody had a great idea, somebody who has PhD, who has years of experience, and they can see a genuine gap in the industry where they can build a product which will be revolutionizing or even benefiting a massive population for anything related to medtech product, building something for your health related. But the problem happens when they start doing the research. It takes months and years to complete that. So average drug takes like 2 to 6 years. And on that, it takes years of research goes into it, and then the clinical burnout. So 86% of those clinical trials fail. That's actually a massive loss of not only just talent, not only just money or time, but it also shows that the system is broken. It's not that there is lack of intent. It's not that there is lack of technology, or it's the overall, nobody has stitched it together to provide an insightful journey where clinical researchers will get the necessary support. So with that in mind, we created those modules will be making your research significantly easier. And 90% of researchers' time to do research goes down, because previously, and you'll be surprised to hear, even like now, people are actually going into critical sources where they're downloading research papers, they're reading it for nights and days. And these are like doctors and researchers, or surgeon who does massive amount of work during the day. So we are like, how can we solve that business problem? So that's just step one when somebody onboard into our platform. Now we hold the data of the whole research, and it get pushed into the second module, which is maybe clinical protocol design. How this entire clinical trial could be done, what could be the endpoint, could be the critical data point that we need to capture. Now, because we did the research using AI, now AI agents know that, okay, this is how we should be doing it. So they created those, which used to take months to create a 60, 100-page report on how to do the clinical protocol design. Now we do it in maybe days, if not in hours. So that's the difference in approach. It happens suddenly, significantly, you reduce your overall burnout. And then throughout the journey, because we're capturing the data into one single AI platform, which is customized to you only. And nobody has the access to it. So it is secure. We are already SOC 2, and we are processing towards our HIPAA and GDPR compliant. So secure environment for storing your own data, building your own AI, and then designing it in a way that it brings your own journey. So that's how we are trying to democratize this data by capturing into one single AI platform where it connects the dot. AI connects the dot. Human doesn't have to. Human can miss things. You have to, if you're a CEO, you have to call your finance, you have to call your operations team, you have to call the researchers, talk to them to figure out stuff. But here, in one single platform, throughout the journey, everything will be captured, everything will be provided to you as an intelligent connecting the dots and helping you to reduce and optimize your time. Remember, the time is the most essential part. Things that is important today, it needs to be researched and invented today, not like in 7, 10, 12 years. That's too long of a time. I think that's drastically will be shortened eventually with the clinical trial, with these kind of platform where you can cut down the overall timeline by at least 1/3, increase the efficiency by 200%, and drastically reduce the burn rate of these researchers and clinical trial specialists who are working day in and day out.
Yeah. So, okay, that's a huge number. You said 80% trial failure rate.
Yes.
Right. And I think that the latest numbers, and it might be a little out of date, but I think the average cost to bring a drug to market from conception to having it being able to be prescribed is like $2.6 billion.
That's right.
Right. So now if you're thinking about the high failure rate of clinical trials, I could definitely see that's exploding the cost. Why? What are some of the things that are making these trials fail? Right? Because I could think of a couple things: patient adherence, incorrect trial protocols. Like, what's making up this failure rate?
A clinical trial involves a lot of different components. And that's one of the challenges that these clinical trials face. And that's the reason of their failure, because each of those components are siloed, and it's like a separate entity. And there is not much connectivity between each of these components to make the overall trial successful. So starting from patient onboarding, who will be part of the clinical trial, to their journey, capturing their data in a constant manner so that you constantly supporting them, pulling those data. Most of those people kind of lose interest halfway through. They're gone. And then how the most of the researchers, because it's a long process, it's also very difficult to continue keeping them on. But AI is your friend. He never leaves you. It is your platform. It stays with you, and it constantly getting smarter and uh, more and more efficient based on the use. So that's the best benefit of AI we're bringing. And one thing I want to mention here, that I'm not saying that we are replacing entire human race and 100% everything will be done by AI. We are not committing that. What we are committing, we're enhancing the power of human, taking away 90% of the tedious administrative work wherever AI can be used. Because remember, there is a misconception about AI and automation. AI is not automation. In automation, we just automate, but AI can think, they can execute, they are smarter, they can connect the dots. So they can pull it together and deliver something way more efficient than just an automation. So answering your question, the 86% trial fail, the biggest reason is think data is siloed. Entities are disconnected. There is no joint anything that is stitching them together like a one single truth or one single platform. I think that's what we are trying to bring onto the table using our theme as your data, your AI, your way.
Yeah, and I think I love that. And you made a mention about that also being a broader organizational enterprise challenge. And we've been talking about this for decades now, right? You had your data store, your database, then that became the data lakes, and that became a data ocean. And now I think the term that I'm always hearing is a data swamp, right? You put all this data in and it's just a swamp because you don't know what to do with it anymore, right? And that's just an ongoing challenge that you keep seeing. Why? You mentioned a couple of reasons, but let's kind of circle back to it. Like, why is data such a challenge in general? Like, what are some of the moats that have to be overcome for having a good data ocean, to having your data democratized?
Right. One of the biggest challenge when we started with the database system, what happens, it has rows, it has column, it has primary key, secondary key, but what we lose is the context. So when you store data in a database, which we used to do before, we lose a lot of context in that database. So that's why eventually it became the data lake system where you can keep adding things and also you can keep adding unstructured things. Then it becomes data warehousing where you can make things even bigger. However, we still lose a lot of context. And that's what the revolution happened 2 years back when OpenAI and other LLM came. They figured out a way to do the context engineering. So there is a dump of data and the AI is smart enough based on their prior experience and the machine learning technology behind, they can figure out the context. So now all these different stages of clinical trial that you are going through, you do not have to store just in the database and lose those contexts, but because you're capturing them into one massive AI model who is smart enough, who has AI agent inbuilt in it, who can figure out how to connect the dots, how to think like a human, but 10,000 million times in an intelligent way because they can connect the dots that even human or computer old days may have missed. So that's the biggest differentiator I think AI has brought onto the table by bringing the context engineering. They are bringing that human aspect of it, that how we can connect the dots, which is not like just a primary, secondary key connection within a database, but it's in a more human way.
And that's one of the things that excites me the most about this current wave of technological change. So first of all, I completely agree with you. I'm a big proponent of human plus AI, right? AI is going to help to unlock the creativity and the ability for humans to just design better systems, create better solutions, be novel, innovate faster. I really believe in that. And I like that you said, automation, we're not doing replacement, we're doing augmentation. And one of the things that excites me the most now about this wave is exactly what you said, that ability to begin to infer and understand the context, right? Look at something and say, well, why is this like this? And it can come back and talk to you about that. And I wanted to relay that back because I think one of the things you said was also assisting with the trial protocol design, correct?
Right.
And, patient adherence in a trial just has such a steep drop off. And, this is coming from my experience as well. So I've been dealing with long COVID since 2020, right? And I'm like, I need to be in a clinical trial. Like, research me, please research me, find out what's wrong. So I got into a clinical trial that was being driven out of the Bay Area. And look, I've been dealing with this for years. I was very excited. Even I fell out of adherence because as the trial went on, I realized that it was the way that it was designed. It was really, really difficult for me to keep up with it because it was a very, there was a couple instructions that were not contraindicative, but basically it said, if you wake up feeling horrible, take a blood test, right? Also, don't take the blood test after you've eaten. So what happens if at the end of the day you feel horrible? Well, you don't collect a blood test. Then you wake up the next day and you're feeling better. Well, I don't need to take a blood test. So I just didn't take blood tests, right? And at the end, I emailed the trial coordinator and I said, like, look, I'm going to have to remove myself because I just these things don't work in my life. So with that, how is AI helping to resolve those kinds of challenges up front? Because this is when I think about it, this is the fundamental core piece of your trial is your protocol, right? If you get that wrong, you're wrong.
Absolutely. I completely agree. So recently we are also working with a therapeutic company. So they have these therapeutic machines that post-surgery people use for their muscle growth, neurological enhancement of their brain after the brain surgery or heart surgery. So what they are doing quite a lot is they're putting those sensors in your body and they stay with you. And they are so minor, you will not be able to feel it or see it. You might have to wear like an Apple Watch kind of situation. And they capture so much information throughout the day and they push them into the AI platform, and where we, again, compile those data, those millions and petabytes of data, and we synthesize them, and we, based on the criteria and based on the AI agent, the way they are trained, they figure out that, okay, this is a drop, this is this. Then they connect with another 150, 200 data point. And based on that, they figure out that, okay, this is the point when we should send a notification and ask them that, hey, you go and take a blood test. It's not only just how you feel, but we have a complete control over the actual trial and the patient, because they are the key into this journey. So we are working with companies on having a sensor positioned in the body who can capture this necessary data. And for that, what is happening, we are capturing a lot of data, which is making the trial even faster, because now we can see growth, positive, negative, going in which direction much sooner at the trial stage than we actually waiting months and months to ask the actual patient to go and do the blood test. We actually figuring out things internally from those data points that we are capturing. Kind of like how Apple Health is doing or Apple Watch is doing. Also, there are plenty of others, but it is similar to that with more sensors putting in your body, which kind of tracks and monitors things in a much better and much more consolidated fashion, so that it provides you the actual direction, the actual pattern, and they tally it with hundreds of other patients and figure out. So that's something we are seeing a lot more and coming up. Even with the therapeutic company, we can see that every day a patient is using the product, is using those machines, how their muscle strength increasing. So those sensors are actually figuring out the neurological the pulses. They are getting stronger in those muscles. So they're capturing that. They can see the progress in, day out. We do not have to wait for months. And that's the biggest change I can see happening. It's not only just from the clinical trial perspective, but also you have to think from the patient care perspective. Now the patient care is more robust thanks to AI, because you do not have to do trial and error on those poor patients, but AI can provide you better guidance based on hundreds and hundreds of data points that they can capture, but me, doctor, have missed it, or me, the nurse, have missed it, but AI don't miss it. So that's the biggest change we are seeing in the industry right now.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about that last point, because I have been talking to various clinicians and providers about how they are using AI to help to get up to speed on a patient's history, to try to find areas that, like you said, they might miss. I don't want to say miss because this sounds like it's like a mistake on their behalf. I think we have to acknowledge that healthcare providers are very time constrained, cognitively overloaded, and they're in a system that basically requires them to be 5 minutes in, 5 minutes out, right? They don't have time to get all the context. So I've been talking to them about like, hey, how is AI becoming your companion? This is AJ. AJ's have these symptoms for this long. Here's all the nuances. Let me give you a summary that you can chat with. What are you seeing the adoption like for that? Or how are you thinking? How are you seeing providers think about this? Are they excited? Are they apprehensive? Are they protective? What does it look like?
As you know, healthcare acceptance to new technology is always a little bit skeptical. They always take their own time. So I feel like we are still in that stage where we are taking time for healthcare. I definitely can see it's slower than other business line, like any business development or any other field, research. Healthcare, because it directly impacts. So there are so many other constraints and regulatory requirement, and I think regulatory compliance leadership also figuring out all these requirements. So people are excited, but also people are skeptical. I think one of the biggest thing we have tried to do is not making this as just a black box. That okay, inputs are coming, outputs are coming. You have no clue how this cool output came. That's making them really scared. That okay, what happened exactly inside? So how can we provide them a proper transparency where whatever the answers are coming, how can we provide a clarity on or those references or those links that based on these criteria, we believe that these could be the reason or this is what the outcome. For example, our platform is a software as a medical device platform. That's what we are building. So a medtech CEO want to build a product that they onboard on our platform. Throughout the journey of this product, we capture the entire data for that product. And then our AI becomes so smart, we put them into a software component like a QR code and add that with the medtech product. So that when the doctor or the nurse or the physician, whoever is using that product, they can do a QR code scan, come to our portal and ask any question related to that product. And it should be receiving a very specific, we call it precision level response. That's why we call it precision AI. That's precision to that product, as well as we are also working on connecting EHR with our product so that you put that patient's SSN or identifier and you can find whatever the patient's history. And then AI can tell you that, hey, this product, because this person who is a 70-year-old female Alzheimer patient, she's taking this kind of medication, based on that, this product may not be the best use case, or using this person may not be the best idea because of these reason. 7 years back, she had a bad allergic reaction on this particular medication, blah, blah, blah. So we are giving a much better perspective on a patient to a doctor who is using products or medication on that patient. I think that's revolutionizing patient care, because so many times we make mistake, again, as you said, and it's a very fast moving field with so much knowledge and data point involved, and we are human, we are not robots. So I think AI is doing a much better job giving a direction, giving some suggestion, giving some clarity to the doctor, to those data points based on which he can or cannot take a decision on using a product or medicine on a particular patient. So what I'm trying to say is software as a medical device concept coming stronger, as I can see, because then this particular product is almost acting like a doctor or an expert on that particular product, and also connecting the EHR, helping to bring information about the patient. Together, we can provide a better, AI can provide a better suggestion, solution, and guidance to the doctor who has very less time to make a call.
Yeah. And so some of the things I'm hearing, things are moving so fast, and AI can act as the tool that helps the doctor stay up to speed, right? You said the word mistake again, and it got me thinking about a situation where on the face of it, it sounds like a mistake, but in the reality is that it's the interventions moving so quickly. So, working with non-small cell lung cancer, for example, right? And there's a lot of things coming out really fast to really look at the specific cancer that you have, and then coordinating precision interventions on that. But it moves so quickly that you have physicians who are still saying, okay, we're going to go on chemo. It's like, well, no, like you have this treatment out here that just like works for this very specific type, but they don't know about it, right? And they don't have the time to look at it, or maybe, that's not their specialty. So you end up with a patient who's getting suboptimal care. And what I hear from you is that like the AI, the doctor, the clinician needs to know to ask, tell me about this. And then it can say, here are the latest interventions that you should be looking at based on your patient's profile and what we found out about their specific type of cancer.
I would like to add here that recently I attended Indo-US rare disease. And the rare disease definition is, which doesn't have a proper definition of what the problem is, and not much done on that problem. So they kind of throw some generic medication to those patients. And there are hundreds and thousands of people suffer all over the world with those rare disease. Now imagine these kind of AI where they can constantly get the update from all these rare disease from all over the world, and possible solution around it, because there is no formal solution done. So it's a massive opportunity to save thousands and thousands of people if we can synchronize that data from all over the world in that one shop stop where it's a rare disease platform. And how many, whatever problem you have, if you write it down, it can provide a solution based on if anybody in the world have that problem already and considered as a rare disease. So I felt like that's kind of an eye-opener, how it kind of unites the entire world with one problem.
Yeah, I love that. As you were saying that, I was imagining the show, remember Dr. House?
Yeah.
MD?
Yes.
And, if you kind of think about it, well, why was he able to solve so many of these rare problems? And it always flashes back to some really weird, nuanced experience that he had in the world. Is like, oh, this Chinese medicine doctor that was always, we're almost democratizing Dr. House. Everybody has a Dr. House, like every clinician that they could go and say, okay, this is what we're doing. But as long as they're open to asking the question, what are some of the edge cases it could be?
Yeah,
Like
100%.
that I'm so excited about because, it's helping to remove the bias of the clinician too, right? Because the clinician says, oh yeah, I've seen this before. I think we see women talk a lot about struggling to deal with male clinicians about problems they're having. So it removes some of the bias of the clinician saying like, oh, it's definitely this. It's like, well, it could also be this, and this because of this evidence.
So that's another great area that you just mentioned right now, which is women's health. Last month, I attended a conference on women health and entrepreneurship, and we have realized that only 3% of venture fund goes to women health among the healthcare entrepreneurship. So that's another burning area where I believe that AI can significantly contribute on women health and how women health has been approached by a male-dominated world in many decades. And there is so much opportunity to connect these women and their health and their changes. I do not want to talk about it too much because I'm not a doctor, but I could see that as a technologist, there is such a huge potential to tie this together into one single platform and connecting the dots from all over the world. Because now AI is showing us, after this whole large language model explosion happens, it's the whole internet basically, right, into that model. And it shows us that the world is a more united sector when AI works as a catalyst to bring it together. So that's another definitely area we will be interested to open up in near future. How can we contribute into women's health? That's definitely interest of ours.
I love that. I love the optimism there that the world is going to be more united. I think we need more of that story out there. So, I wanted to talk a little bit about just where we're at now, the why now. Let's talk a little bit about the urgency to act now and the cost of waiting.
The world is moving at a very fast pace at this point of time. It's like 6 months back, it was something, and now it's completely different, especially with the AI and the technology. You can wait for a better technology. If you're a small to medium-sized businesses, when I'm talking to them, a lot of them are saying that, let's wait, when this product will get a little bit mature, we can see. But you have to understand, these are AI agents who will be doing a lot of your work in the future. They will be your employees and you need to train them right away. AI agent is something that doesn't come as an adulthood right away. It starts as a kid, then toddler, then kid, then teenager, then eventually it becomes a grown-up man or woman, and then eventually they will be acting as a adult. So you need to start right now, today. It's very easy to think, especially for small and mid-sized businesses, that, when the time comes, now it's all the big company, they're doing these things. Let's see what happens. You are wrong. I must confess that I have talked to so many CEOs and they are not thinking in a futuristic basis. I could see they are going to lose their business. They're going to lose their revenue in just matter of, if not 6 to 8 months, then maybe 12 to 18 months. But they will. Someone with AI capability will replace you. Whatever work you are doing, if you are not bringing AI into it right now and trying to learn with this process, you will miss out. It's just matter of time that someone who is using AI with a more lighter, cleaner approach, they will take over your business. So do not wait. Use AI, bring AI, try to learn with it. Don't just stay on the top and say, it's the technology problem. It is not a technology thing. The entire culture will be shifted. The working processes will shifted. The business models will shifted. It's just a matter of time. Before you even see things, you will see everything will be vanished. Don't become a blockbuster, or don't become those companies who saw Nokia and who saw things coming up and didn't do much. It's especially for mid-size and small-size businesses, I highly recommend bring AI, start learning with it, ask people who are experts, take help from companies like us. That's why I go to companies, we go to CEOs and say that I don't know your business model. I don't know how you run your business, but you might not know also AI, how it works. So how about we do a pilot and see we can bring some value. And 6 to 8 weeks, quickly showing value with a proper KPI. That's how you should proceed. Do not sit and wait. Let's jump in and start working with AI.
I love that. And I love when you said you come in and say, we may not know the intricacies of your business. And one of the things that you and I had talked about before is sometimes organizations don't fully understand the intricacies of their own business, like that end-to-end journey. And when you lack that map, I would imagine that it makes it increasingly difficult to think about how do you adopt AI, because you don't have a broad overview of your processes in the first place. So how do you think about that?
We are currently working with a few companies where they have identified more than 200 functions within their company, within their enterprise. And they are now very focused not to hire more people in those functions, rather bringing AI to do that end-to-end offering to enhance the capabilities of those functions within their enterprise. I think that's a very good way to start thinking, that we will not hire any unnecessary, anywhere we see a gap, we just throw some bodies. We will not do it. We'll try to solve it with technology, even if it takes a little bit hardship, uncomfortable. It's okay to be a little uncomfortable, because unknowingly you are in an uncomfortable zone. You just don't know yet. Sometimes we say, not knowing what is coming up is kind of a bliss. I think that's okay for a few more months, but eventually it will be not a kind of a bliss. It will be a disaster if you do not take things on your hand and think big, think the next, the end-to-end enterprise level, and converting your functions into technology, and how can you bring AI? That should be the mode of every company right now.
Mm-hmm. I like what you just said. Don't just throw bodies at it. And it made me think about how many job descriptions I've seen that part of the job says comfort with ambiguity, right? And when you said sit down and actually solve your problem, right away I connected the dots there that says, okay, if you are hiring for a role where you feel that you need to be comfortable with ambiguity, that probably means that you did not take the time to figure out the problem and articulate it yourself as a leader or as an organization. So yeah, that's almost like a red flag. Like if you see that in your own job description, that means you have more work to do.
Also, I will mention that from a job seeker's point of view as well. So the job seekers, the typical technology job, like a data analyst, like a business job, like a business analyst, like those jobs, you need to step up your game too. Just yesterday, I took an interview of somebody who's good at data analyst job, but I said that, do you know how to build an AI agent who can do your job? Because if you cannot build an AI agent who will be doing the data analysis job for me, then you may be irrelevant in next 6 months, because someone else will build that agent for me and I will be using it. So from a job seeker point of view, I would definitely like to recommend all the freshers, all the experienced people who are working for a long time, step up with your AI knowledge. Try to figure out, try to jump in, do things so that you can bring AI, even if you get hired into a company or enterprise, figure out where and how you can do work, you can bring more value using AI so that it enhances the capability of yours, not like just replacing you, but enhancing. For if you have that focus in mind that, oh, okay, I don't want to use AI, it may replace me, you will be replaced in no time. But if you have that mindset that, okay, let me figure it out, how can I do it a cheaper, lesser, higher efficiency, lesser cost, and let's use AI into it with a bigger picture in mind, you will be able to survive. You will, face this storm that this year and next year will be very hard for a lot of these job seekers who are not trying to learn, but trying to keep doing the same thing that they were doing. Again, put yourself in an uncomfortable situation, learn and fail. It's okay, but at least you will be ahead in the game.
I believe what you said underpins one of the big shifts that we're seeing, and that's just in how people need to view what their role is in a company. And maybe you could share some insights as we close out about your journey through the enterprise organizations. But I really like what you said about the need to provide value. And this is a conversation that I kicked off on LinkedIn a couple of days ago when I posed that I believe that human readable code is dead. Like, we're gone. We're out of that. And part of drilling down into that is this idea that if you're an engineer, if you're a data analyst, and you think that your job is to sit down and write the algorithms and take all of the data and clean it up and pass it on, then you don't know what your job is.
Right.
Your job is a storyteller to identify and extract the insights so that you're contributing. The what you're doing, like, you do it by hand, you do it by AI, it doesn't matter. Your actual job was extracting insights.
Right.
And I'm wondering, like, as you've moved up and become a leader, like, how have you seen that shape? And then let's go back to, what do people need to be focusing on?
Absolutely. See, when I started my journey, I was an application developer. I worked in India. I worked here. Then I moved into data. I became personally a data analyst, data modeler, data migration, ETL, all those things. I gone through the whole grind. And then eventually, when I come in today's stage and look back, I could see that hundreds and hundreds of hours I spent on something that could be done in today's world in minutes, if not seconds. So if you still think in that 15, 20 years back, how we used to do things and that point of time, like the Java coding or coding for data analytic migration, if you're still thinking in that conventional way, that will be a major disruptor for your career growth. It can even end your career growth right away. So as I'm keep moving into this journey, I could see that your mindset needs to be changed. Even the fresher coming out of the college, they are still doing things in that conventional way. And I would like to mention here, surprisingly, our college education, our higher studies is still not there yet, where they can see the future, where they can figure out that, the normal database design will not even work anymore. We have to move to the next level. AI need to be brought into each and every segmentation of our education, at least the higher education, because these resources will be working in the future companies. And if they do not learn, how they will be able to perform? So during this journey, again and again, I'm seeing there is a gap, which was there before, but now I'm seeing it more and more. The gap is between the conventional education system and industry direction. The way our industry is running so fast, I don't believe our education system in the colleges or in the higher studies, we are able to cope up with that speed. Because I understand there are a reason for that, but that's a genuine problem. So I believe that the youngsters who are coming out of the colleges absolutely need to get out of the conventional mindset. The security is not there for you anymore. You have to figure out ways. You have to learn things addition to your college curriculum or your education day to day, so that you can perform at the enterprise level with this fast paced moving emerging technology ecosystem.
Mhm. I totally agree with that. I look at the gap, this widening, as the lack of the real world experience, right?
Yes.
Okay, you understand how to do the thing, but you don't understand the context of which is applied.
Right.
And I do worry a lot. I talked about this before. I don't worry as much about the AI skills gap. AI is a tool. The tools are changing. You can learn the tool. The contextual gap of why did I use the tool? Why does this matter? What is the value of this insight that I'm trying to pass on? What happens when there's not a progression plan to get you out of school into real world experience to make you the expert to be able to actually think critically about what you're doing?
That's a very good question. I wish I have a clear answer to that.
I wish I had one too. And I will refuse to let us end on a down note. So let's think about some optimistic viewpoints for leaders today and freshers today. What are the 3 actions on each that they should take away and start implementing immediately?
I genuinely believe that this revolution is bigger than dot-com boom or any other technology revolution I saw in last 20 years. This is one of the biggest. The journey, it will be amazingly awesome. That's what I feel personally. Things the way revolutionizing everywhere, in every sector, in every part of our life. In next 5 years, we might not even see a similar world. It will be a whole different world. So if you are going to work, if you are going to expand your company, if you have a company and figuring out what's next we should do, I highly recommend that just don't sit idle and just ask your CTOs or ask your technology people to figure it out. You need to roll your sleeve and jump in. You need to do some study. You need to figure out your strategy, because a lot of companies, a lot of CEOs I'm talking to, AI still means some bunch of tools that they are buying, but that's not AI. That's not optimization of AI. That's not the future of AI. That you have 5,000 tools for in your company, but it's a bigger, more robust change. And accept that. First, you have to accept that it is a big thing that is kind of coming to all of us, especially for mid-size and smaller businesses. So I will highly recommend read and study, do some hands-on work. That definitely helps for the C-level or for the decision makers, and don't just leave it to the technology people. Oh, technology problem. It is not a technology problem. Accept that it is a culture. It is a process. It will revolutionize everything. It will revolutionize you as a human being as well. So accept that so that you can take the necessary steps. Definitely build a better strategy. A lot of companies are not doing that. I would highly recommend to hire some good advisors, build a good strategy. What is the direction? Connect the AI strategy with proper KPIs. That's very important, because so many people are getting just wowed out. Oh, this is such a cool tool. But where is the value? How much bottom line impact it is causing? You need to connect your AI revolution with a KPI. Have that mindset. That will make you more successful. For the fresher coming out of the colleges, do not only rely on your college education, college classes. There are hundreds of startups out there whom you can explore. Actually, we are giving more than 20 interns who are working throughout the year in different stages with us. We are trying to teach them. So going to internship, there are hundreds of startups who can use your energy and skill set, and they can provide you very valuable lesson of life, how actual industry work happens. Do not wait, jump on that. along with your classwork and education, you have to push yourself a little bit more with hands-on technology experience in AI. Otherwise, it will be someone else will take your job who knows and who is doing that already. Connect with senior level leadership through LinkedIn. Connect with them. Send them cold email. Focus on that. Focus on outcome-driven, value-driven approach rather than, I will get a job, I will work 8 hours, I will make X amount of salary. Those days are gone. Focus on value. What value I can bring. People will hire you. People will take you for internship. They will give you opportunity. I will end it with that note.
That's great. You got me all excited. I look forward. We're gonna face some disruption, hence facing disruption. But something I've been saying for a long time, together, united, we will conquer it and we will all be better for it. So thank you, Dev, for joining us. Thank you to the listeners. I hope that you enjoyed the conversation. Please like, subscribe, comment. Happy to continue the conversation as well. And we will see you for the next episode.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.